Okay, this is a really dumb video, but Vox has a video and it's number 5 on trending. Now, I was like, okay, I'm sus because earlier in the day it had 70,000 views, now it has 1.1 million. That seems like okay, so what's number 1? I don't know, YouTube's organizing it weird. But it's a music video. Or Super Smash. I don't care. So, well, let's just go to the very bottom. Yeah, let's see. Let's just see what the max is. So, oh wow, my first 40 bomb from Lachlan, a Fortnite YouTuber, I think. 1.7. So tell me which number's higher, 1.7 or 1.1? Yeah, well, what's this? ZHS with a 5.1. You get the point. YouTube's biased. From Jacksepticeye, 2.4. Being pregnant for 24 hours. Jesus, that's amazing clickbait. 2.2. You can see the point. It's dumb and really shouldn't be number 5 on trending. PewDiePie's latest video is 1.9. 1.8, I'm sorry. Anyways, this is a Vox video.
Cold Arctic air, usually contained up north in the Earth's jet stream, dipped down into the US. It's called a polar vortex, and it's pretty common.
Wow, okay, Vox.
It's what brings the coldest air to the US during the winter. What was unusual is for it to dip as far south as it did. In Texas, where February is typically fairly warm, temperatures dipped dangerously low.
So dangerous.
And it came with a storm.
So dangerous that someone my mother actually knows almost died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Fun.
More than 4 million Texans lost power. Many wouldn't get it back for nearly 5 days.
I wonder why. It's almost like the majority of Texas power comes from the sun's shining due to either A, wind, or B, solar energy. And if you... God. Yes, the wind has literally everything to do with the sun. Please do your research before you make false claims.
By then, pipes had frozen. People were melting snow for drinking water, and dozens had died from the cold in their cars and in their homes.
Yeah, this is called why you are prepared for things like this. And oh, you're so harsh, but just get warm gear, like legit warm gear. I have some in my closet right now. Not gonna go put it on. That would take a long time. But yeah.
And it was almost even worse. The state's entire electrical grid was within seconds and minutes of a failure that would have lasted months. But even though this storm hit this huge area, it was really just Texas that had major loss of power. There's a reason for that.
Is it because the majority of Texas power didn't actually have a backup supply, which is something you should do, and if a major failure happens, basically the entire state would go without power, and the fact that their main power source depends on the weather being warm and the sun shining.
And it should be a warning sign for the rest of the US.
Vox.
When you flip your lights on, you're getting your electricity from the power grid.
Not necessarily.
And that grid is getting the electricity from a bunch of different energy systems, like nuclear power plants.
Nuclear power plants make up 20%, I think it is, of the US total electricity grid.
Or wind farms or
wind farms make up like 1%.
Natural gas facilities.
Natural gas make up 50%, I think.
In the
Something like
US,
that.
these places are generally run by private energy companies that work with your local power utility.
Nuclear reactors are generally not run by private energy companies. One, because it's illegal to own more than 15 pounds of uranium, and two, it's illegal to own more than 15 pounds of uranium.
Which directs the electricity around the grid and into your home. That power utility is overseen by a government commission who sets things like prices and safety standards. And the grids most Americans are on aren't just big, they're huge.
Huge, almost like a single failure in a specific location could desecrate the entire system.
The entire East Coast, from Canada to Florida, is on one grid, and the entire West Coast is connected in another.
It's kind of a remarkable engineering feat.
It is, although has some major design flaws that need to be addressed as soon as possible. Still, that would be an extremely difficult task.
Probably the biggest machine humans have ever built.
While most power tends to stay local, this grid allows electricity to flow over huge areas and
Yes, why? Because guess what? If a, say, major collapse were to happen, the entire system wouldn't go down.
between states. Like in New York City, power comes from energy plants in New York, but also from neighboring states and even Canada. This huge grid also means in emergencies, power can be directed where it's needed. Like in Oklahoma, which was also hit bad during the February winter storm. They needed more power, and
they got it from places like California and Kansas and Colorado and New Mexico.
Instead of completely losing it, they were able to get electricity from neighboring states through the grid. But it's not so seamless to send it to Texas. Texas opted out of the big grids, back when they were being built nearly 100 years ago. Since they covered several states, it meant the federal government could regulate them. Texas was not into that.
Texas decided to
Yeah. Not regulating is a decent thing.
go it alone. It's a very uniquely Texas type thing to do, right?
So
Yeah, okay, sure. Just, remind me, who introduced House Resolution Bill HR 127? House Resolution Bill 127. Good job.
So most of Texas is on its own grid. It means they don't have to follow the same regulations as the rest of the country, like reliability and
You're going to claim this on regulations and not this, or blame this on regulations and not, it being a, 100-year storm.
cost standards. But it also means when it lost power in the storm, it couldn't easily get electricity from other states. Its independence kept it in the dark. But it wasn't the reason it went dark in the first place.
Yeah, I know why. I've said it multiple times.
Being on its own, Texas has to make all their own power. They have a variety of sources.
So Texas, they put up a little thing: natural gas, coal, nuclear, and wind. Wind is 23%. Much higher than that. Natural gas makes up the majority, and yeah, I mean, that's the best option. Nuclear, also a very good option. Wind and coal,
When the storm came, it affected everyone. Several coal plants stopped operating as coal piles froze. One of 4 Texan nuclear plants went offline. Some wind turbines stopped working in the freezing cold.
Almost like, they froze. And the wind stopped blowing as much, meaning ice could build up.
Failure in terms of its magnitude and its impact was the natural gas system.
Natural gas, which actually contains water vapor, froze in storage wells and pipelines. Every one of these systems failed, in part, and it had nothing to do with the type of energy and everything to do with these companies not being prepared for the cold.
Wow, it's almost like if California suddenly got hit with a cold strike out of nowhere, they'd be totally unprepared, and even a slight surge would basically mean rolling blackouts. Do I have any evidence of this? Remember the California rolling blackouts crisis of 2020? Good job. that was a small surge in power when the sun wasn't shining as much, and it caused rolling blackouts all throughout LA and other surrounding areas.
Clearly, you can run an energy system in cold temperatures. There are wind turbines operating in Antarctica and gas plants in Alaska.
Antarctica is very windy compared to freezing Texas.
Alberta, so this is not a technology specific issue. It was more a failure to anticipate that this is something that could even occur in Texas at this,
Oh my god. This is a very rare occurrence. The last time this happened, I don't even know. You can't say, prepare for this, prepare for that. Well, should I prepare for a meteor strike on my house? I mean, that's a possibility. The chances are extremely slim. So slim it will never happen, but should I prepare for a meteor strike? You can't just prepare for anything or everything. It costs money. See, if you were to have a backup power supply, you'd basically have an entirely new power grid. So that's just why.
Length and severity, and to prepare for extreme cold temperatures.
But it should have been anticipated, because this has happened in Texas before.
It has, and currently oh wow, their source 1989. How many years ago was that? Oh yeah, 40.
In 1989,
You
the
still
same kind of
can't.
Arctic storm caused natural gas plants to have the same problems, resulting in rolling blackouts. And the same thing again in 2011.
That's actually very.
And both times, federal commissions recommended utilities ensure reliability in extreme weather conditions, and specifically for the state government to create winterization standards for these energy sources. The Texas Utility Commission did make those standards, but also made them voluntary, so most companies didn't winterize. Private companies like these don't have an incentive to spend their money preparing for unpredictable and infrequent events without being required to.
Oh wow, it's almost like companies will try to cut costs because of taxes, that one thing, and having a thing go down is going to be detrimental, but they'll still have to think which is going to be more expensive, not having a natural gas plant to run, or making sure the winterization things are fully met.
But this problem is not limited to Texas.
The particular vulnerability to the extreme cold may be a uniquely or extremely Texas thing. I think what it shows you,
It's not an extremely Texas thing. Saying it is completely ignorant. I could go to any state with a large amount of wind and solar power, and if I were just to make the sun shine less, or have some snow, the entire power grid would sufficiently would go down if it was a majority solar. Now obviously this is a fictional example, but if it was real, a snowstorm could wipe out the entire power grid.
is you need to check your blind spots, right? And that applies everywhere.
But you can't do Jesus. Look, you can't just prepare for everything.
The last 40 years of severe weather disasters in the U.S. Storms in particular are in orange. Here is the Texas winter storm in 1989 and the one in 2011. These costly disasters are becoming more frequent, not just in Texas, but nationally and globally.
Yes, you have a general trend, but you see, we have a spike. Down, 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 spike, down, 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 spike, down, down, spike, down, 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 spike, and we're still in the spiking area. Well, yes, the spikes are getting bigger. If the spikes are getting bigger, the downs are still going down.
And the US is not prepared. Most of this grid was built 60 to 70 years ago, but was only built to last 50 years. And some studies point to nearly 100 facilities, like power plants, in immediate danger of flooding and storm surges. Most of these private energy companies across the US aren't going to change unless they're required to.
So the best way is to make regulation that may or may not have loopholes specifically created by lobbyists to demand that electric companies do this, except if you do this, then you cannot do this.
Utility commissions can require it, as can state governments and the federal government. All three can even help pay for it.
Will they, though? No, they're too busy impeaching Trump.
Texas was warned for 30 years to prepare its energy systems for severe weather and climate change, but they didn't. Now, the rest of the US is facing the same problem.
It is a wake-up
Wow, it's almost like it's not Texas' fault. I mean, it is, but whatever. You get my point. It is a mistruth to say it is a specifically Texan problem, because if I just made the sun not shine in California, is around 33%. 33% of the entire energy grid just gone because of a rare accident.
call for everyone.
Saying it's a uniquely Texan problem is a lie.
To think about how do we prepare our energy infrastructures and our other critical.
But you physically cannot prepare for everything. It would cost too much. Also, I'm not going to go subsidize someone else's problem.
Infrastructure for extreme events that may become more severe and may become more likely. And that isn't about just thinking about what's probable, but also what can break the system in a way that's catastrophic.
Wow, that was an extremely intelligent Vox video. This is number 5 on trending, guys. 1.1 million views. 1.1. Number 5 on trending. Yeah, okay. Oh, let's see what's above this. SpaceX 5.5. Oh wow. What's this? Adam Savage tested. 3. Okay, that's not very good. Birth and delivered or sure. Jesus. Oh wow, a dream short. More views. Not as high. Roman Atwood vlog. Oh god, it's these guys. 4.3 million. And that was made 2 days ago, I think. Yeah, 2 days ago. Still. Here, I'll do one from today. And it's not gonna be SpaceX. Come on. Why is nothing going for today? It's all 1 day ago. What was the Vox video? 17 hours. Okay, that was basically 1 day. But you get my point. Why is this on trending YouTube?